Okay, so we are finally back with the YouTube how-to series, and today we're working on photo editing. Today is episode 2, by the way. If you missed episode 1, check that out. And that one was on budgeting. So today I'm just going to run through some examples of photo editing, some basic tools people tend to use that are common that'll make your images look very good. But I also want to talk a little bit about what I do with photo editing. And mainly what I do is my thumbnails, whether it's for my streams or my videos. I typically would do the thumbnails, and that'll be it. But sometimes if I'm going to have an overlay in the video that's going to need to be edited, I will do something to that, even if it's a picture of something and I just want to bring up the brightness a little so you can see it better. Even if it's just little tweaks like that, I will sometimes do that. And sometimes I use images for text. It'll be a PNG because of the way I download it, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. And so sometimes those will be in for when I subtitle or make an editor's note or something in my videos, which I do once in a while. I don't do that very often, but I could. So firstly, I want to mention this too. This is not going to be a Photoshop tutorial because not everybody has the ability to use Photoshop, whether it is their PC isn't compatible, or they don't have the money for it, or they don't have a PC at all, because let's be honest, the mobile versions are not very good. They're fine, but they're nowhere near as good as the computer version. But in order to make this appeal to everyone, where everyone can learn from it and take from it and use it, I'm going to be talking about Pixlr X, which is the photo editor that I use, which is a browser-based website. Okay, so here I am on the homepage for Pixlr X, and I actually have it bookmarked, so it just takes me to the homepage every time. As you can see here down on the bottom, there's just a few things I've worked on. And you won't see anything if you are just starting this for the first time. If you used it before, then there's that. But I will tell you what, I've been using Pixlr for years, but it's been different versions. So there was Pixlr Editor. Originally, that was the first one I ever used. This was back in maybe 2016-ish. And then I started using Pixlr Express, which was a better version of Pixlr Editor. And Express was definitely one of the best of the early 2 or 3 versions that they used, but it is nothing like what they have now. This is basically Photoshop but simplified and online, so you can use it from any device. So there's 2 versions out now. I believe if the other one is still active, which I don't use, so I may be incorrect, but Pixlr X is this one that I'm on now, but I believe Pixlr E is one that is in existence as well. They also have a background editor website where it's supposed to remove it, but it doesn't work out the best. You got to do it a little. It's easier to just do it in Pixlr X, and because everything's already there, and there's just better ways to do it. There's more options than in the actual background editor site. So I would suggest using Pixlr X and sticking to that, but obviously do it however you want. It's all different based on each person. Now, to start out, before I create a thumbnail template type thing, to show you guys an example, I'm going to show you an actual thumbnail I did use, and that will be my reacting to garbage life hacks video. I actually had to just resize my display capture in OBS because I realized that it was way incorrect for the size. It was way bigger, so that should actually be better now. But basically, I used my reacting to garbage life hacks thumbnail. I'll use that as the example. And I'm also going to add this a little bit in about the video. It is only 2.5 minutes long. It was supposed to be 10 to 12 minutes long. YouTube decided to copyright me for the music in the video because I didn't realize, even though you would think that that wouldn't be copyrighted music. And instead of just muting the audio, I had to leave it unmuted, because if I muted the audio, you would have muted my microphone too. And I could have cut between where I was talking, but that would have taken way too much time, because I did end up record for a while. So I actually ended up supposed to only have 30 seconds removed that I trimmed out because of copyright, but it took 99% of the video, so thanks for that, YouTube. But anyways, enough ranting, let's just get to the tutorial. So this video, or this thumbnail I should say, basically what I did is I went to the camera app in my computer. Of course, I have my webcam hooked up. And I went and I turned on, of course, I turned on my lights that I use for when I'm recording and taking pictures for my thumbnails, to make sure that there was enough brightness. And then basically what I did from there is I just set the timer and took the picture. So once the picture was done, I imported it into the editor. And if you didn't watch the life hacks video, or you missed the majority of it because it was copyrighted, a lot of them were really ridiculous, and I roasted most of them, except for a couple that actually seemed like they would be decent ideas. So that's why in the thumbnail, I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Like, why? What am I doing? So once I got the picture in the editor, what I did is I cut out the background. It's easier to do if you have a solid background of a different color than you and or your chair. But you can do it where you're cutting around, especially if your background is dark, where it looks very clean. You really can't tell the edge, even though some of it didn't stay perfectly cut out, and I had to kind of work around it, but you really can't tell because the majority that I needed in focus is. And basically what I did is I blurred the background, so I duplicated the layer, cut out me and the chair, and then went to the under layer, which was the entire picture, and I just blurred it. So basically what I did is after I cut out the background, I went to a website called Cool Text, which I will link in the description. Hopefully I will remember it. And basically what it is, it's a bunch of fonts and a bunch of different like designs for your lettering, and you can edit it and all that stuff. You could download it. It's automatically a PNG, so there's no background if you save it. And typically I will use that, but you can use the text box function in Pixlr, which it does have. The older version, every single font was unlocked. Now there's some that needs premium, or at least an account. I don't use an account because I just never have made one. But if you have a PC, I don't know if you can do this on a Chromebook or anything, but if you're on PC or Mac, you can download fonts and upload them in, and you can still edit the outline and the shadow and all that sort of stuff. So I have several in here that I've used. Typically, though, I do go to Cool Text. This font is called Mask, M-A-S-Q-U-E. I really like this font. I actually use it quite often. I always use similar fonts in my thumbnails. It's always either Keen or Mask. It seems to be the two that I always use. My favorite two fonts from Cool Text. And so basically what I did is I just made the background black and the interior lettering white. And then I just saved it and put it into the image. And from there, I just clicked the little save button down here, changed it to 100% quality, renamed it if I needed to. You pick PNG, JPEG, stuff like that if you need. Low, medium, or high quality. Resolution you can change. And I'm going to add this here too. The resolution, if you change the resolution here, it will constrain to the aspect ratio. If you go up to the corner and do layout and template and do resize image, you can take off constrained proportions and make the numbers whatever you want without issue. So right here, we're just going to take a quick look at one of my thumbnails in a video from, wow, actually almost a year ago by now. That's actually kind of crazy to think about. But basically what I did is I did something similar. So I added my text. This was a different font, obviously. And I'm unboxing my brand new gaming keyboard. I always use exclamation points. You don't have to. I just feel like that kind of adds some excitement or adds some like you can kind of hear the way I would say it if I was saying it out loud. I'd be like, unboxing my brand new gaming keyboard, and not just like, unboxing my brand new gaming keyboard. Like, it's not like I don't care. But this one is one of my favorite thumbnails because, as you can see, I cut myself out. I took a picture of the keyboard at my desk. This was also when my desk was flipped around and I was on the old desk. And I took a picture of the keyboard, and then I blurred it like crazy. I cut it kind of roughly around myself and the keyboard. And then, because I felt like my eyes were too small, they didn't look excited enough, stuff like that, I took the liquify feature, which you can use on Pixlr, super simply, and I basically just went over my eyes and my mouth and made my eyes and mouth really big. And I think it actually looks way better than the original picture of me did. So I'm not going to show it to you, but if you saw it, you'd be like, oh yeah, that was a good choice. Now the last type of thumbnail I'm going to show you guys is my Funny Amazon Reviews #1 thumbnail. This was one of my earliest thumbnails. I think it was only the 4th or 5th, no. I think this was number 6 actually. And basically what I did is I just took a background, put myself in and cut out the background of the picture with me in it, and then just took the Amazon logo and put it on there, and me pointing at it. That's all I did. But basically that's the main type of thumbnails you will see, and sometimes it'll be a background or with a logo or something without a person in it, like I did that for my microphone video, for the lavalier mic I unboxed, for the sponsored video, and the webcam video where I unboxed the webcam that I currently am using, which also, you should seriously buy it if you're looking for something budgeted, because it's very good. $30 is all it was. Actually, I don't even think it was $30. So now what I'm going to do is I have a few pictures that I took as templates for cutouts for thumbnails. So I'm going to make a thumbnail with one of those, and we'll just make a fake one, and I'll show you guys the process of me making thumbnails. So I'm in my camera roll file right now, just kind of looking through what we have. And I think we should take this one right here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this image. Also, I know this image is a little like I'm like staring into your soul. Just forgive that for now. This is just kind of the example one I'm picking. So once that layer is duplicated, I am going to lock it just so they stay lined up. And you can lock, unlock, you can duplicate, you can merge down. So if you have text above an image and you want it to be on the same layer, you can merge down. Visible or hidden, you can make it unnoticeable, or you can just uncheck the box over here. And of course, transparency, stuff like that, which you're not going to see here because they're both the same image. And blended modes, which you can see, which is actually really helpful when you're doing some different darker types of graphic design stuff where you want the colors to bleed through, and it ends up looking pretty cool. So what we're going to do to cut out now is I'm going to deselect the lower image, so all I see is the top one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw. And I'm going to first take the majority of the background off. It depends on how you want to do it. There's different ways to do it. But I'm going to start out with taking a bit of the edges without getting too close to myself. That way I can get a closer idea of what I need to be cutting out. So once I'm done, this is what it ends up looking like. It really isn't going to be perfect, but that's why you can go ahead and continue to edit it. And of course, you can keep something if you take something out you didn't mean to. And so what I'll do now is I would just go back and change the size of what I'm using, and you would just begin to get a bit closer to your body. And if your background is dark, then it really doesn't matter how close you are to your body, because it should be blending enough that you aren't able to tell. Now, it can be difficult depending on the shade of the color. Like if you have black on black, it may be a little bit more difficult to decide where the cutout needs to happen. Now, it is important to remain patient because this part can take some time. So see, that's not perfect, but that only took me around 5 minutes, and that'll give us what we need. So if I add this image back, then I go into the Adjustment tab. I go to Details, I can blur the image. I'm selected on the wrong image. Way to go, Brody. If I'm selected on the right image, I can blur it. And if I go all the way, you can see the little parts where I missed. But if you only go to about 50%, you can still kind of see, and I also didn't go back and touch anything up specifically, but you can see it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is just apply this, go back to this cutout, and cut out any extras that I missed enough to where it looks good. So that was only maybe an extra 2 minutes from when I last left off, and as you can see, I tightened it up a bit, and it looks a lot better. There's still a few parts here and there where it's not perfect, but that's a pretty good representation of what I was looking for. Now, since I'm surprised in this reaction, what I'm going to go do is I'm going to go to the image that we cut out, which for some reason the background is still showing, and I'm not entirely sure why, but we're going to go and liquefy the eyes. So let's bring this up to 75. So that'll make that quite big. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I'm trying to center it as much as I can on the center of my pupil. They may not end up the same size, that's okay, because it's a little finicky, because if I just press and hold, it continues to go. So we're just going to leave it right there. So now if we go back and we are on this image, this is now what this would look like. So let's now look up movie posters, because I'm just going to use that as a template of what I'm reacting to and why I'm so surprised. Let's take this Avengers Endgame thumbnail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click. I'm going to do copy image address. I'm going to come back over to Pixlr and go to the add image section, add URL. I'm going to paste that into there. Hit add to current, because if not, it'll create a new layer, and I will just add it to the layer to the image that's there. And the reason it looks like this too is because it is behind my cutout, but in front of my background. If I put it behind the background, you can't see it. If I put it in front of the cutout, it blocks that out. So there's a little bit there that you can consider if you were going to have text over the cutout or something like that. You know, you can control that how you want to. I'm actually going to end up picking a different poster because this one has so much going on it that this one looks so small that when you're looking at the thumbnail and it's very small, it's going to be a little harder to see. So I'm going to actually get rid of this and add a different poster. Okay, so we're going to add in our new movie poster, which we're going to use as the Joker movie poster. Also, that movie was amazing. If you haven't seen it, you seriously need to see it. So I'll just resize it as I need to. I'll make it a little smaller. It's a little bigger than I prefer. I'll set it above the hand as if I'm like, whoa, look at this. The resolution will change to match the image as well. So I will say I personally don't like this image either because of the weird white background that also doesn't go all the way around. But for the sake of time and the image, we're just going to, and the thumbnail, we're just going to use that image for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy. So I locked that image so it's not going to move from where it is. I'm going to add empty. You can add an image, a frame, a text shape. I'm just going to add empty. So there's a new layer, and you can't see anything else because it's a blank layer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the Draw tab on Shape. I'm going to do black for the outline. Actually, you know what? Let's make it white, since there's a slight white border already. And then Fill. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to go as diagonally, as lined up as I can, and go across. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this underneath the movie poster, and there it is. And it should be just about lined up, and if not, I can move it slightly to get it as close to lined up as I can, because it's not necessarily going to be perfect. But again, for the sake of the image, we're going to do that. Then we're going to lock that. So see, now that actually looks like it matches. So now we're done with the base of the image and the overlay of what I'm reacting to in this particular scenario. Of course, if I was going to cut out and do a background, I could have done that. I didn't have to leave the blurred version. I could have just gone to Google, looked up background for thumbnail or something like that, and put that in as the lowest layer. So now I headed over to Cool Text, and I'm going to grab a font. This one here is Keen. This is a text style, and then you can actually get specific fonts. So I use the mask font most often, or the Keen text style by default. And if I change the text style, if I change the font to mask, the text style will all be masked for each one of these. Now what I'm going to use is the Skate font with the the Skate text style. I keep getting that wrong. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write. There's different ways you can do it. You can actually break up your text if you want. You could do it all at once. I'm going to break it up for the sake of showing what that would look like. And I'm going to write Joker movie, and in the bottom corner, we will do review. Since the colors are red, we'll change it from this fade blue up to this fade red. So I'm going to right-click, save image as, and hit enter so it saves to my files, because copying the image doesn't, or the URL doesn't always work, so I just do that. Then I'm going to write review, and I'll do a couple exclamation points, and we'll save that one too. So now I clicked out of that tab, so I'm going to do browse, downloads, and it'll be the most recent two. We're going to add Joker movie to the top corner. We'll make it nice and big. Big-ish. And then we will add in review. I'm going to go to the top corner with this as well, so I can try to size it out so it's more or less the same. But other than that, I honestly don't think there's anything else I want to add to this thumbnail. I think this came out pretty good. And this would be an example of a typical thumbnail I would use. If I did a review for the movie Joker when I saw it, which I could have because I saw it after I'd started the YouTube channel, I could have done a thumbnail exactly like this. But that is where I'm going to leave this video for today. I've been recording for around an hour, so I need to edit because I'm recording this on the day that it needs to be edited and put up because I didn't time out very well this week. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope you guys learned something, because a lot of this stuff I had to learn by playing around. You know, there's not a lot of people who will like put up tutorials, tutorial videos on Pixlr, or none that I've really seen at least. But I really like Pixlr. It's a really great program, and I seriously suggest you use it, especially if you're either just starting with Photoshop, because I will say I use Photoshop here and there, and I'm getting a lot better with it. But I tell you what, I would not be anywhere near as good with Photoshop as I am if it was not for Pixlr, because of the simplified versions of the Photoshop features. But with all that being said, again, I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys had fun, had a good time, enjoyed, took something from the video. Let me know if you want to see more stuff like this, if you want to see an in-depth photo editing tutorial, stuff like that, like even more so than it was. I could totally do that. Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you guys want to see more of these YouTube how-to videos. I plan to do more anyways, but if you guys let me know that you want to see them, then I will get to them even quicker. I don't want to wait as long, and I want to do one on OBS. I want to do an OBS tutorial. I want to do a video editing tutorial, and there's a few other things here and there that I want to add in. I want to have at least 5 different videos on YouTube how-to, because I know I'm still new, I know I'm still low budget, and I know I'm still somewhat inexperienced, especially compared to some of the guys that have been on for as long as me. But I'll tell you what, I have learned so much in the, year and a half, no, little under, that I've been on YouTube. And I think that we can all learn something from each other. So I would love to be able to help some people out. And hopefully I can help you guys grow a little bit faster and learn a little bit more. And honestly, that's one of my wants for running this channel, is to see people look at what I'm doing and be inspired. And I don't know that anybody is feeling like that right now. And if not, that's totally fine. If nobody ever is, that's fine. But I hope that somebody somewhere will see something that I've done and will look at it like, wow, that's pretty cool. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks with a new video. I have a few different ideas, some newer videos, some newer type videos, stuff like that. So stick around, and we'll see. Subscribe, turn on post notifications, all that stuff. Check out Cool Text and Pixlr if you would like. And, of course, check out the podcast. Link to the podcast channel in the description. That is awesome. I'm hoping to get second episode going soon. I have somebody lined up that I want to be on it, but I'm waiting for a little bit longer because I'm not quite ready. There's some topics I want to discuss that haven't quite passed yet, so I'm going to wait till they're done before we discuss them. So hopefully that'll work out. If not with that person, then we should have the second episode up soon, because I've got a few people lined up that I want to get on, and hopefully that'll get going soon. So, without further ado, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. Hey. What's up? What are you doing? You're an idiot.
2 very boring minutes later.
Alright, fella. Bye.